You all know this, I won't dwell upon it. The Care Quality Commission is here to make sure that health and social care services provide care which is safe, effective, compassionate and high quality. And absolutely crucially, we are here to encourage services to improve. And one of the ways that we do that is by highlighting what makes a service outstanding, identifying that when we do our inspections and celebrating those services. And it is a true pleasure to be here with so many of your colleagues who have indeed delivered those services which have been rated as outstanding. And that's my key performance indicator slide. I do have a boss, there is a chief executive of CQC. He doesn't let us do our presentations without that first slide, but this is the most important one, because this is what actually you've been talking about this morning, the impact on people. I use my mum, this is indeed my mum. I use my mum, it could be anybody that you love. Yourself, your dad, a family friend. Would you be happy for the service that you're delivering? And I want my inspectors to ask when they are looking at it, is this a service you would be happy for somebody you loved and cared for to use? And if it is, fantastic, let's celebrate it. But if it's not, we've got to do something about it. And I do have to pay tribute, I think, to UKHCA, because through that code of conduct, I think you are very clear that you're expecting members of the UKHCA to do something about it if things are identified as not being as good as they should be. So this is to give you the picture as we have things at the moment, and this is the most up-to-date figures that we've got, produced on the 1st of November. And you will see that big green bar. Indeed, 72%, the vast majority of the services that we are regulating and inspecting at the moment are coming out as good. Some of those services are good with outstanding features because one of the questions has also been rated as outstanding. And I think that's a real positive as well in terms of us seeing the quality of care that we have. Those of you who are outstanding, you are in a very small group. I know that you all know that. But we are only still at just about 1% of services being rated as outstanding. We have set the bar high. I think it is important that we do so. And certainly my experience of either visiting or talking with people who are running outstanding services, you can absolutely feel that difference. There is a difference between good and outstanding. And what's sad about this picture as well is that we still have a percentage of services, 3% at the moment, that we are rating as inadequate. Now, we do have experience of identifying those services as inadequate and them improving. 3/4 of inadequate services did improve, and a quarter of those improved through to good. So there can be the turnaround that people need to do. But also we have seen inadequate services leave the market, and frankly, some of them absolutely needed to. This gives you the assessment by individual questions, and I think this is a trend, has been constant throughout the 2 years that we've been doing this. We rate the question, is the service caring, more highly than anything else. And I think that is a true testament to the dedication and the commitment of the people who are working in adult social care, who really do go above and beyond sometimes to have such a positive impact on people's lives. And as Colin has already said, the issue around leadership is the issue that we see worrying us in terms of the impact on services, as indeed is safety. And just to give a plug to, there's a really interesting blog that's come out in the last week from Anthony Collins solicitors, who I think are here today, around the impact of governance on and leadership on good quality services, which I would recommend to you. And this gives you what the picture looks like in terms of the individual services. So community social care, and some of you will have services that would fit into that, outperforming other sectors. Domiciliary care doing very, very well in comparison to the residential and the nursing home sector. But I think that one of the interesting things about all of this is there's lots of good news in these figures. But what we highlighted in State of Care in October was our concern about the fragility of this, because one of the worries that we have is around the fact that if we've rated services as requires improvement, only about half of those services improve. And that it's not good enough. It's certainly not good enough for the people who are using those services. But I think it does demonstrate that people are struggling to make the improvements that we need to see. So, what do we do about this? I think it's one of the great things about the setup that you've got today and the various speakers that you've had absolutely reflects that, yes, as a regulator, we have an important role to set expectations, monitor and report on quality, but there are so many other aspects of the sector that need to be involved. Providers and commissioners, and you've got the people speaking from those perspectives throughout the day. But also making sure that we are listening to the voice of people using services, their families and carers, and understanding what it is that matters to them, and also making sure that we're engaging with our staff. But what you wanted to know was, after that kind of scene set, is what truly makes an outstanding service. And we've drawn out in this slide some of the characteristics that we see of the services that we have rated as outstanding and that we think we really need to focus on. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I think that some of the experience from our colleagues who have been rated as outstanding will exemplify some of this. But it absolutely is about people being at the centre of the service. The conversation that we've just had about getting ahead and thinking about what is it that people need, what are their preferences, truly understanding that. And listening to Sandy's experience of her mum, something very similar is happening to me and my family at the moment as well. And the things that really, really matter, we need to understand and we need to respond to those. Good leadership, we've mentioned that before this morning, and I think it's not just about there being a great leader, but it's about how that leader inspires their staff with the values that they have to make sure that actually anybody that you talk to would be able to share what the vision and commitment of the service is. An open culture, a culture that listens to the concerns that are being raised and responds to them positively. I'm so sad to read the local government ombudsman's report yesterday around the concerns that they were raising, and Simon was absolutely right. Folks should not have to go to the local government ombudsman for the resolution of their concerns. That really does demonstrate that the system has failed them up until that point. But a great service listens to what people say and responds to them, and people feel confident to share their concerns if they have them. And the last thing that I'll say on that slide is that the people who get to be outstanding are not doing it for CQC and the regulator. You've got a number of sessions in your workshops today which are how do you get to be outstanding? How do you make sure that you satisfy what the regulator wants? Frankly, I don't care about that. I care about you getting it right for the people who are using the service. And the folk that you've got on the platform today and others that have been rated as outstanding absolutely get that, and really and truly make sure that what they're doing in terms of the way that they deliver their services is focusing on the people that are using them. What I've done, and we can share these slides afterwards, so I won't go through the detail of it, is just to pull out some of the highlights of the reports that each of these 4 services have achieved. I could have picked all sorts of sentences in these reports to exemplify the outstanding characteristics that I have just been mentioning. But what comes through so many of them is the importance of that people-centred approach, the way that staff are developed and supported to be able to do a great job, and that they are truly motivated to do that. And that it really is about the small things that kind of make people want to get up in the morning and want to actually have that great measure of independence that we were talking about earlier on this morning in terms of commissioning for outcomes. So I'd like to thank you for aiming to be outstanding. I would like to thank those of you who are outstanding for shining that beacon that it can be done. And thank you very much, and I look forward to the rest of the session.